Hello, everyone. So we have an interesting interview question. Write a Java program that finds the first non-repeating character in a string. So let us suppose that we have a string, abracadabra, and the first non-repeating character is the letter C. So the output, right, or let's say the return of the method should be the letter C. Why? Because A, there are other A's here. When we look at the letter B, there are other B's, and the same for the letter R. And when we come to the letter C, it is unique. So the letter D is also unique, but here it says the first non-repeating character in the string. So that the first one is the letter C, okay? So we're going to create a method here, public static, and this method will return one character. So that's why we're going to return a char, and I'm going to call this one findFirstUnique. So this method will accept a string as a parameter, str, and this will return a char, okay? So let us suppose that we are calling this method from the main method. So then we're going to print, right? We're going to print the result. We're going to say, call the method first, findFirstUnique. As a parameter, give the string that we want, right? Abracadabra in this case, or we can try also with other strings. Get the character back and then print the character on the console, okay? So now, how can we find, right, the first unique character here? So we're going to look for the first character, and we're going to compare it with all the other characters. If we find another letter that is the same as this one here, then it is not unique. We're going to do the same thing for B. So we're going to compare it with A, and then with the other letters. And then when we find the letter that is the same, like the letter B here, that's when we, right, say that it's not unique, and then we do the same until we find a letter that is unique. So the logic is we get the string and we're going to look for every character. So we're going to say for int, and of course there are different ways to solve the problem, but this is one of the ways that I'm going to solve it. Okay, if we're going to start from the index 0, while I is less than the length of the string, so str.length, and then I plus plus. So what I'm doing here, I'm iterating, right? I'm iterating all the characters one by one. So I'm going to get, right? I'm going to get one character and I'm going to compare it, right, with the others. So here I'm going to do another for loop because every character should be compared with all the other characters. For int I, int j in this case, now we need another letter, another variable, j starting from 0. J less than str.length. So why do we go less than the length? Because, right, we are going one by one, right? So the index goes from 0 to 1 less than the length, and then j plus plus. So of course we have, right, we have a logic here. We're going to say we're going to get the first character, the character with index 0. And at this moment, we're going to say that this character here, right, which is the letter A, this is unique. So first we say boolean unique equals to true. So we're going to believe that that is true. We're going to compare it with all the other characters. And if we find another same matching character, then we say, no, it's not unique anymore, it is false, right? So when I'm comparing, the first thing is that I'm starting from 0, right? But in this case, I don't want to compare, right, when the index is the same, because even the letter C, when we compare it with the letter C, that is the same, right? That's why it's not logic. So you want to compare the letter C with all the other indexes. That's why here we have to put a rule. We're going to say if I is equal to j, right? If it's the same index, right? Then of course we want to continue, right? We don't want to compare that one. So in this case, right, what this one will do, this will skip one iteration of the for loop here, okay? And I'm going to debug it and show to you the logic there. So now I need to compare if the letter at index I, right? If the letter at index I, how do I get it from the string? I say if str.charAt and then a specific index, if this one is equal to, right, is equal to str.charAt the index j. So if the letter index I is the same as the letter index j, it means that, right, it means that we found a similar character. So that's why the character at the index I is not unique. That's why here we're going to say unique equals to false. So now we said no, this is not true anymore. Unique is false. So we are comparing, when index is 0, we are comparing all the indexes, but not when they're the same. So we're skipping that case, but we're comparing all the others. If I find the case where these two letters are the same, it's not unique anymore. And here also I'm going to break the loop. So I don't need to look anymore because I found the same letter. Why I should continue? So I'm going to break the loop. So here I'm continuing, right? I'm skipping this loop, and here I'm breaking this loop here, okay? The inner loop. Now, at the end, after I compared one letter with all the other letters, if unique, right? If it was a unique character, right? If it was true at the beginning, if I didn't go to this one here, right? If it is unique, then I can say here that let me return the letter at index, right? Char at I, right? Because if it was a unique character, I can return the character here. So, and then I'm going to look for another character. Look, if I find anything, right? So this return, whenever we find the first one, right? Whenever we find the first character which is not unique, right? Sorry, when we find the first character that is unique, then we're returning it. So this for loop, we're going to look, right? So at the end, we have to return, right? At the end, we have to return. So if I'm looking everywhere, and if I didn't find anything, at the end here also the method is complaining, saying that not all the, right, this method must return a result of type char. We are returning here, but what if it does not come here, right? That's why we're going to put here at the end, return. Oops, sorry, return. And then here we need to return a character, right? If we didn't find anything, if we looked everywhere and we never found a unique character, then we're going to return a dash, right? We can return anything that we want. So let us try. I'm going to call the method. I'm going to give abracadabra, and I'm expecting, right? I'm expecting the letter C to be there. Let me run it. Okay, so this is the result. And of course, I'm going to share the code with you, right? In the channel down there in the description, but let me show it to you how this one debugs. So let us debug always by debugging, right? That's how we learn, right? You always know that we always debug. So we're gonna start an I index 0. So I at index 0, we're looking at this letter here. This is the index A. Then we're saying, I believe that A is unique. Okay. Now I'm gonna compare that one with all the letters. Okay, let me continue. So when I is 0 and j is 0, so it doesn't make sense to compare the index 0 with index 0, right? You compare the same letter, and of course it's gonna, right, be the same. So you don't want to compare that one. That's why we're skipping here. That's why here in this case we're skipping, we're continuing. So this one says go to the next iteration of this for loop. Okay, so from continue, we're gonna go to the next iteration. Now, when j is 1, right, and I is 0, so now that's a good case, right? So you're comparing this letter here at index 0 with this letter here at index 1, and then it will continue 2, 3, 4 until we find, right, until the end, let's say. So of course now we're not going to skip this anymore, and now we're comparing the char at index 0 with the char at index 1. So actually we're comparing A with B. Are they the same? No, they're not. And then we continue. Next, now j will become 2. So now j2, we're comparing A with R. So should I skip? No, I shouldn't skip. Now I'm comparing, right, the letter A with the letter R, right? Let me go here, let me show, and then, right, they're not the same. Now, when j is 3, it is this letter here. Now I'm comparing this one with the letter A. So of course, right, I shouldn't skip. And then since these two letters are the same, so I'm saying I found another letter at another index which is the same as this letter at this index here. So in this case, that's not a unique, right? That's not a unique character. So that's why unique became false, and I broke the for loop. I'm saying I don't need to look anymore because I found an A. I can look and find other A's, but one is enough for me. So that's why I'm going to break the loop. So when I break the loop, I'm done. I compared the letter, right? It was I was 0, and I compared the letter A with all the other letters, and then, or actually with some letters, and then I found another one. So since there was another letter which is the same as this one here, A, that's why unique is false. That's why I'm not going to return, right, the letter. Now I became 1. Now I need to compare, right, when I is 1, so it's actually I'm comparing the letter B with all the other letters. I'm going to start with comparing with the first letter, right? Okay, let me compare. So I is 1, right? I is 1, J is 0. By the way, don't forget, we said that this letter, we believe that it is, right, unique. That's why unique is equal to true. Again, in every iteration, it became true. Now, should I compare index 0 with index 1? Yes, I can compare. So that's why I shouldn't skip. Are they the same? No, they're not, because we're letter A and the letter B. And then here now, J is 1. So now I is 1, J is 1. So should I compare that one? No, because the same index, right? That's why I should skip. Okay, I skipped it. Now next iteration. Now I'm comparing. I is 1. I am comparing letter B because that's what I'm doing here. I'm now comparing letter B with all the other letters, but not itself. And then I'm comparing it with, right, with index 2. So I'm comparing with the letter R. Are they the same? No, they're not. That's why I'm going to continue. I'm going to look next. So this will look, right, the letters one by one. Letter A, compare with B. Letter C, compare with B. And then so on and so forth. When we come to this letter here, B, at that moment, it will go inside this if here. So let me continue. No, that's not the same. Next letter is not the same. Not the same. And then now we come at this letter here. When index 1 is compared with index 8, now we are at the letter, I don't know if it's 8 or not. Let me see. Yes. So letter with index 0, right? So index 1, 3, 5, 7, 8. Yes. The letter with index 8 is again a B. So I found another letter B. So we can say that this letter is not unique anymore. That's why unique false. And I don't need to look anymore because I found the letter that is the same as the letter B here, right? Somewhere else. So let me break the loop. And then again, is this one a unique letter? No, because I found another one. I made it false. And then we continue. Now, again, now we're going to compare the letter R, right? We're going to compare the letter R one by one. And then we're going to find an R here. That's why, right? So let me just go step by step. Compare it, compare it, compare it. So I'm just skipping this one until it goes inside. We found another letter here, index 2 and index 9. So index 2 and index 9 are the same. That's why I shouldn't look anymore. This is not unique. And also I should not return it. Now, we are at index 3. So we're looking at letter A, right? Letter A. So I believe that is unique. Always, when I start, I believe it is unique. I will compare it, right? I will compare it with the first letter. So J will be 0. So I'll compare the letter index 4 with the letter in index 0. Let me see. Is it right? Should I continue? No, should we, like I should not skip this iteration because these are two different indexes. So let me see. The letter at index 0 at the letter index 3. So these letters are the same. That's why that's not a unique one. So that's why I'm going to return. Let me break the loop. Was it unique? No, it's not. Now, when I'm comparing the letter C, right? This letter is this index here. This, I will compare this one with the letter index 0. So let me compare it. Are they the same? No, they're not the same. Let me compare with index 1. So as you can see, guys, I am comparing one by one, right? I'm comparing one by one. And then one time it went here because it was the index itself, right? Okay, let me just try to move this one here. And then I am looking one by one. I am not finding another C. So as you see, guys, right? As you see, we came here at this position and we returned the letter at that index. So it was fast, but as you can see, right, the method returned, and this will print the letter C on the console. Look at this one here. The letter C is printed on the console. So after we find a letter that is unique, we went inside here and we returned it. Okay, so we compared the letter C with everything else, and then we didn't find any other letters that is the same. That's why we returned the letter C. So we can try this one with shorter, right, with D, E, O, D, for example, right? So the letter D is not unique. The letter E is unique. So this should return the letter E. Let me try. It returns the letter E. Let me try to debug. It should be fast because it's a short string. So I am comparing, right? I am comparing the letter D. I believe that is unique at the beginning, right? I believe it's unique. And I'm comparing it. Should I compare it with itself? No. I should compare with index 1. So I'm comparing the letter D with the letter E. Let me compare it. Are they the same? No. Let me just compare it with the letter O. Are they the same? No. When I compare the letter at index 0 with the letter at index 3, so they're both are the same, they're both are D's, that's why I will say, no, it's not unique, and I'll break the for loop. So this is false. That's why I'm not going to return it. Let me check the next letter, right? And I'm going to compare now the letter E with all the other letters. So let me start. Let me start. So at the beginning, I believe it's unique. I will compare it, right, with letter D. So index 1 with index 0. So yes, I should compare them. There are two different indexes. And then this, they are not the same. Now, when I try to compare it with itself, right, when index I is 1 and index J is 1, then we say, no, should not compare with itself because we know that they're the same, right? And then we go. Now, I should compare the letter E with the letter O, right? With the letter O. So let me compare them. They're not the same. Now, the last iteration, I'm at the last letter. I'm comparing the letter E with the last letter with the letter D. Let me check. So the indexes are 1 and 3, right? 1 and 3. And they're not the same. So since we're done with all the letters, I compared E with D, I didn't compare it with itself. I compared with O, I compared with D, and I went until the end, and I couldn't find any similar letters. So I am done with this iteration because I compared the letter E with everything. So now I couldn't find here, right? I never found a case where to change this one to false. So that's why the unique is true. Yes, the letter, right? The letter E was the first unique character, and I will return it, right? I will return it here because I can have multiple returns. Whenever we see the return, it will, right? It will go back to wherever the method was called. So now it will go back, and then we'll print the letter E. Yes, the first character there was the letter E. And you can try this one with different strings. And then if we try with a string which has only unique characters, right? Then it will never, right? It will never, oh, actually it will find the first one, which is the letter D. But let's suppose that there are D, D, E, E, F, F. So in this case, it will never find a unique character. Then it will go to this case and it will return a dash. Look at this one here. Let me run it. And then we see here that since there were no unique characters, it returned a dash. So we covered all the cases, okay? So I'm going to share the code with you. Thank you for watching.